Hi, I'm Tiana from Russia. Please like and subscribe. My mom gave birth to 2 identical twins, me and my sister Mila. Unfortunately, we were only a month old when my parents divorced. Mom took Mila to the city while I stayed in the village with Dad. Dad was my only friend because growing up, I was super shy and preferred to read and write stories in my journal than play with other kids.
Are you sure you want to spend another Friday night alone, sweetie?
Don't worry, Dad. I'm fine. Aren't you happy I'm not going to any wild parties or dating any boys? Then one day when I was 16, I got a strange visitor.
Hi, Tiana. Oh, you're all grown up now and so beautiful.
Thanks. Do I know you?
Wow, I guess your dad never mentioned me much or kept any pictures. I'm your mom.
You're joking, right? But she wasn't. Instead, Dad came over and the 2 of them sat down with me in the living room.
All right, I let you come over because you said you had an emergency. So what's going on?
It's Tiana's sister, Mila. She's a model and makes a lot of money, but she started struggling with mental illness and suddenly quit. Now, if she doesn't complete her contract, we'll be sued for a crazy amount of money. Tiana has to fill in for her. No one will know. I may have to trim her bangs a bit, though. Wait, what? This is the emergency?
What a stupid and twisted thing to ask your daughter that you haven't seen in 16 years. Get out of my house, right now.
They started arguing and I didn't know what to do. So I just slipped out of the room and tried to calm myself down. But Mom just wouldn't give up. And the next day, she made me a crazy offer.
Your father mentioned you write stories and that it's your dream to become a famous author. What if I told you I knew an agency that could publish your work and pay you a fortune?
How could I say no to something like that? After that, I convinced Dad to do the modeling contract and finally, he agreed. So, I moved to the city where Mom and Mila lived in a mansion. Mom greeted me at the door and hugged me tightly. I still wasn't entirely comfortable with her, but it was nice to feel welcome.
You'll meet Mila later today. She doesn't leave her bedroom. She even has dinner there.
You mean I'll only see her if I come upstairs with you? Doesn't she ever leave the house? Mom didn't answer. She just snapped her fingers and ordered some servants to get me settled in my room. God, this place was so different from what I was used to. And I was curious to meet my mysterious sister, too. That evening, I was reading in my room when I heard a scream outside my room. I went into the hallway to find the maid covered in food. That's when I also saw Mom and Mila. I told her I wanted pizza for dinner, not these soggy vegetables.
Of course, baby, our mistake. But pizza's not good for you right now. We'll get you the tastiest salad ever. I'll give you a raise, all right? I can't have another servant quit because of her.
You always do this, Mom. I don't want a salad. If I don't get a pizza right now, I'll take all of your gold jewelry and give it to the neighbor's dog to chew on and then throw up. Excuse me, but don't speak to your mom like that. And you certainly didn't need to throw food at your maid. This is my twin sister, Mom. She has a lot of nerve for a house guest. Also, we may look identical, but her skin is way more blotchy than mine. You should tell the photographer that beforehand. Jeez, this girl was something else. I went off to bed after that, and Mom told me not to take Mila's behavior personally.
I just want her to be happy and healthy.
The next day, I arrived on set, when suddenly, I noticed everyone glaring at me and whispering angrily. What was going on? Hey, why is everyone here giving me dirty looks? Did I do something wrong?
Ugh, you're here? I thought you quit after you humiliated me in front of thousands of people. Also, you bullied every single person on set since you started working here, Mila. They were hoping they'd never see you again after you left.
What? I bullied everybody here? And what did I do to you? I mean, I didn't take my meds this morning, so I forgot what happened. Can you remind me?
Ugh, give me a break.
Mila had apparently done a lot of horrible things because every person around me acted like I was some kind of monster. I called Mom and told her what had happened.
You must have spoken with Vlad, Mila's coworker and ex-boyfriend. She dumped him publicly during an acceptance speech for an award show and said some mean things. Just focus on your work, honey. He's not your problem.
I knew Mom was right, so the next day, I ignored all the death stares and kept to myself. But later that afternoon, Vlad and I had to do a photo shoot together. The photographer was about to start when suddenly she started freaking out.
I cannot work like this, Vlad. How much weight did you gain? The costume designers worked really hard and you… forget it. I'm requesting a different model. What? Why? We've been rehearsing this for weeks, and I haven't gained any weight.
He really does look great. Maybe his suit just has to be tailored a bit.
The photographer wouldn't listen, and Vlad stormed off with tears in his eyes. Vlad, don't listen to that photographer. You're in great shape. I don't get why she had to be such a jerk. Well, she wasn't totally wrong. I have put on a little weight. I'm surprised you didn't make fun of me about it.
Have I made fun of your body in the past?
You made fun of it in front of thousands of people during your award speech. You said you were dumping me because I didn't have abs anymore.
Wow. Well, I'd like to apologize for that. The truth is, I think you're really brave for doing a job like this. I hate having my picture taken. I mean, even though I'm a model. The point is, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I really didn't expect an apology from you. We're still broken up, but thanks for that.
After our talk, Vlad was nicer to me, which made my job a lot easier. One day, I headed to the den to watch some TV when I saw Mila sitting on the couch.
What are you doing here?
What do you mean? This is my house, isn't it?
Yeah, but I thought you never came out of your room.
I don't, but my room doesn't have a TV, and I like watching my MSA videos on a big screen. You watch MSA too? They're my favorite YouTube channel. Their stories are what inspired me to become a writer. Yeah, I don't care. You can watch with me as long as you keep your mouth shut. I decided to take the opportunity to spend time with Mila. She obviously had some issues, and I was curious to know more about her. As we were watching videos, Mila's phone suddenly rang and she looked annoyed. Why is Vlad calling me? My heart started racing as Mila answered the phone. Apparently, Vlad had called to ask her out to coffee. He said he's glad we're getting along better lately and that I seem happier and healthier. Did you flirt with him or something? What? No, we're just friendly coworkers. Listen to me. At your job, you're not Tiana, you're Mila. And Mila doesn't want you talking to Vlad at all. I still love him. You love him, and yet you dumped and publicly body-shamed him? Look, I'm not interested in your ex-boyfriend, but I'm allowed to be his friend. He's not your property, and he deserves to be around someone who doesn't mistreat him. I left before Mila could answer, and the next morning at work, I told Vlad I was sorry if I was rude to him on the phone and that I was happy to hang out.
I really don't have time for your games, Mila.
I'm not playing games, dude. Just whatever you do, don't call or text me on that number again. I got a new number. I convinced Vlad to let me buy him coffee, and as we were walking to a cafe, I saw a lady come up to us with a little girl behind her. I'm so sorry to bother you, but my daughter is a big fan and I wanted to say hi. She's just a little shy. You don't have to feel shy. I'm just a normal girl at the end of the day, like you. Did your mom buy you this pretty scarf? Actually, I got it as a present from my agency. Do you want it? I think you'd look even better in it than I do. No, we can't possibly accept that from you.
Mila, that scarf costs thousands of…
It's okay, really. I want her to have it. The girl was starry-eyed, and her mom thanked me over and over.
Wow, I can't believe you just did that. You've changed a lot during your vacation, haven't you? Are you in therapy now or something?
I guess you could say that. Vlad insisted on buying me coffee instead of the other way around, and I even got some free pastries since the cashier was also a fan of Mila. I was living like royalty pretending to be her, and my life as a model just kept getting better. I was getting huge business deals because everyone was amazed at how Mila had apparently made a comeback. But my success drove my sister totally wild. You're just living your perfect life, aren't you? Oh no, wait. You're living my life. The only reason I'm even here is because you sabotaged your career with your awful behavior. Mila just threw a pillow at my head and walked off. What a brat. As more time passed, I also started hanging out with Vlad and we became really close. But I was always hesitant to tell him about my real identity. One night, he walked me home and when we arrived in front of the house, he took my hand and I felt my knees go weak.
I had such a lovely day with you. You seem a lot happier and healthier lately. Or maybe I'm just seeing a different side of you.
Suddenly, he leaned in to kiss me and I found myself pulling away. Vlad, I'm sorry, but I can't kiss you.
What do you mean? I want to give us a second chance, because you're the new you.
I know, but things with me are more complicated than they look. I have to go, I'm sorry. I quickly snuck inside the house, but when I closed the door, I saw Mila leaning against the wall. and she looked enraged. "I saw you two from my bedroom window, Tiana. I told you to stay away from Vlad. I know we haven't grown up together, but you're still my sister, and sisters don't steal each other's boyfriends." "I'm not stealing anything from you. He tried to kiss me and I refused. But if you still love him, you should reach out and apologize." "Do you think I haven't done that? He won't take me back, Tiana. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am trying to work on myself and become a better person. Hurting Vlad was the biggest regret of my life." I didn't know how to respond to that, and as I lay in bed, I felt torn about what to do. I did have feelings for Vlad, and Mila had been horrible to him, but I still didn't want to hurt her. So the next day at work, I told Vlad I only wanted to be friends.
But why? Is there something you're not telling me?
"It's just that suddenly I saw something that made me forget what I wanted to say. The director was putting an envelope next to my purse, and it had my name on it. I left Vlad right away to see what it was. "Excuse me, what's in this bag?"
The menu for your new diet. You have a photo shoot coming up this month and you need to drop some weight.
"What do you mean I have to drop some weight? This diet is insane. I could get sick."
That's ridiculous. We've given you this diet many times and you were fine. So can you do your job and follow this diet? Or are you going to go crazy and have a mental breakdown again?
I felt like the ground beneath me had collapsed. This was how the agency had treated Mila when she was here? No wonder she'd been struggling. I had to see her right away. I went home and knocked on Mila's door, but there was no answer. Then suddenly, I smelled something weird coming from underneath the floor. So I opened the door and my heart dropped. Mila's entire bedroom was covered with dirty plates and there was food under her bed that she'd snuck in from the kitchen. At that second, Mila's bathroom door opened. "Oh my God, get out! This is a total invasion of privacy!" "Mila, what is all this?" "The director gave me the diet menu today, and she said she's always given it to you whenever you put on weight. But now, I think you have an eating disorder." "My eating disorder led to my breakdown. I thought it was a harmless diet, but they kept telling me that I was still too heavy. So I started starving myself, but I'd get hungry and stuff my face, and the pressure to look perfect got to me. And then I projected my own insecurities onto Vlad. Tiana, I was never jealous of you. I just didn't want you to suffer like I did. Oh my God, I had no idea. I am so sorry. But it doesn't excuse my behavior. It's turned me into a monster." I hugged Mila tight and let her cry for a while. And after that, we went straight to the agency to take care of business. But when we arrived, Mom was there. And when she saw Mila, she freaked.
What is she doing here? Tiana, I came here to help you sign a contract for a new business deal. We could get into huge trouble if someone sees you two together.
Forget it, Mom. I'm not filling in for Mila anymore. I'm done. You care more about money than you do your daughter's health and well-being. This agency totally mistreated Mila and the other models. And if I stay any longer, I'll go down the same dark path she did.
Oh, Tiana, don't be overly dramatic. Mila's breakdown had nothing to do with the agency.
Mila was about to answer when we heard footsteps behind us. And when we turned around, it was Vlad. I hadn't spoken to him since the other day. His eyes got huge as he stared at Mila and me.
Mila? You have a twin?
Actually, I'm not Mila. My name is Tiana, and I've been secretly filling in for Mila since last month. She didn't want to continue modeling, but they were going to sue us, and she quit before her contract ended, and it was her you've been hanging out with this whole time.
I don't understand. So you both lied to me and the whole world about all this?
It wasn't our choice. It was... Vlad walked away before I could finish, and I was devastated. I wanted to go after him, but I had to take care of other things first. I called Dad right away, and with his help, we filed a lawsuit against both the agency and Mom for mistreatment and fraud. Dad got custody of Mila and got her the therapy she needed, and I was still able to get my stories published. But our little switcheroo was all over the news, and Vlad was still ignoring our calls. Then one day, Vlad texted me to meet him at a cafe, but he said he didn't want to talk to Mila. That was weird. So, talk to me. How come you asked me to come here, but not Mila?
Because you're the one I want to be with, Tiana. You're a better person than Mila is. I was hurt that you lied, but I know you had your reasons.
I'm not a better person than Mila. I just had it way easier than her. She still loves you and wants a second chance.
but she hurt me too deeply, and I don't think I can ever love her the same. You're the one I want to be with." My heart raced as Vlad took my hands, and I stared into his deep, dark eyes. "Vlad, maybe someday we can be together, but right now, I have to focus on myself. I've been living my sister's life for too long, and I've lost touch with who I am. Still, I've loved every moment I spent with you." "Me too. Good luck, Tiana." Hi, I'm Violet from Washington, and I have a really personal story to share today. But before I do, please like and subscribe. My mom gave birth to identical twin daughters, me and my sister Sophie. So of course, my parents dressed us in the same clothes and braided our hair with matching ribbons. But people could easily tell us apart for one reason. Sophie was born with a minor facial distortion. Her eyes were a little lopsided, and her mouth was almost as low as her chin. I, on the other hand, looked like a frickin' porcelain doll. And everywhere we went, people would ooh and ah at me. "She's just too lovely to be real. Look at those brown eyes. I have the same color eyes." But everyone ignored Sophie, and it really got to her. I kept telling her she was just as pretty as me, but she wouldn't hear a word of it. And as years passed, my sister grew to hate me. Sophie did everything she could to make me feel as sad and angry as she felt. She'd spread rumors about me at school, steal my diary, and once, she tried to shave off my eyebrows. I was living in fear 24/7. Worst of all, my parents didn't take it that seriously. "I'll take away her electronics for a week." "That's not enough, Dad. Sophie is trying to ruin my life. What if she tries to seriously hurt me?" "Oh, Violet, that's silly. Sophie's just going through a phase, and we would never let her harm you." They didn't understand. And when I turned 14, things really turned upside down. One afternoon, I came home from school to find Sophie in the living room with my parents, and they looked furious with me. "How could you do something like that, Violet?" "What are you talking about? Sophie said you locked her in the closet for an hour. We heard her calling for us." "What?" Just then, I saw Sophie, and she was smirking at me. "I just don't think I feel safe around Violet anymore, Mommy. How can I trust her after what she did? Guys, she's framing me. She locked herself up in the closet. And why would she do that? That's just twisted, Violet." Didn't my parents see how crazy Sophie was? None of them talked to me that night. They all watched MSA videos with a bowl of popcorn while I stayed in my room. But the next morning, my parents did the unthinkable. They made me move into the guest house. It was Sophie's idea. "You two need space away from each other. We can't have this negativity in the house." "So you're kicking me out? What, because I trapped her in the closet? I told you guys I didn't do it." "It doesn't matter who did it. The point is, you two are toxic for each other right now. And at the moment, Sophie needs our attention more than you do. You have more friends and the world at your fingertips. It's just for a short time, Violet." I was speechless. I was being punished for literally nothing, and it was all Sophie's fault. I moved into our guest house that evening and didn't speak to any of my family members. In fact, I continued to ignore them for the next several months. Sure, it was clear Sophie was much happier without me in the house. She made more friends and even picked up a few hobbies. But I was still bubbling with anger. One day, I was coming out of the supermarket when I saw a homeless boy outside with dyed turquoise hair. I immediately pulled out a bag of bananas and some change, but he just laughed. "Whoa, do I look like a beggar?" If I'm being honest. These clothes are just really old." I still insisted that he keep the bananas, and the two of us ended up having lunch together. I found out the boy's name was Easton, and he lived in an apartment down the block. He was also an absolute sweetheart. I told Easton all about my home situation and Sophie's issues with me, and he had a brilliant idea. Pretend to run away from home. Leave at midnight and leave a note. Turn off the location services on your phone and you can stay at my place. They'll get so scared, they'll beg you to move back in with them. They might even finally punish your jerk sister. I was sold. My whole family deserved a little scare. So that night, I sent a text to both my parents to tell them my plans and switched my location to private. I spent the next 2 nights at Easton's apartment. His family was really poor and I had to sleep on a torn cot, but I felt fantastic. My parents were probably going crazy. Maybe they think you joined a gang. Or they think I'm pregnant and ran off to get married. Unfortunately, the fun didn't last long. The next morning, my parents burst into Easton's apartment with several cops. They hugged me and cried for a moment, but then they were furious. "Why would you scare us like this? We had no idea what was going on." "Sorry, but you kicked me out for no reason and then neglected me for 6 months. I needed to teach you a lesson." "Teach us a lesson?" "Violet, we know the living situation isn't perfect and we know we haven't been giving you as much attention, but just disappearing like you did? That's crazy behavior. Come with us right this second." After that, Mom let me move back into the house, but she watched me like a dog. Sophie even suggested I shouldn't leave home without her escorting me, and my parents agreed. Luckily, I could still hang out with Easton, who was the only person who seemed to care about me. And it turned out we'd even be going to the same high school next month. On my first day of 9th grade, I was in gym class when Easton started jogging next to me. "Whoa there, you look ready to faint. Here, take some of my water."
Oh God, is it that obvious?
"Don't worry, you still look lovely, even though you're drenched in sweat." Easton smiled at me as I drank from his water, and I felt a little weak in the knees. And not just because I was tired. I saw Sophie glare at me as she jogged by, but I didn't care. As months passed, Easton and I just got closer, and whenever Sophie was mean, he always defended me. "You can make fun of Violet's dress all you want, but she's the one who got a party invitation and you didn't." Secretly, I had the biggest crush on Easton, but I was way too chicken to ever tell him. I was just grateful to have a best friend. It was exhausting living with a bully 24/7. Then one day when I came home from school, my parents gave me shocking news. They'd found a plastic surgeon to fix Sophie's facial distortion. They couldn't completely get rid of it, but I'd never seen my sister so happy. I felt so ugly my whole life, Violet. I know it sounds shallow, but I can't wait to be as beautiful as you. Sophie, look at me. You've never been ugly. But if getting this surgery makes you feel more confident, then I support you. Sophie started to cry then and hugged me. I stayed with her in the surgery room the entire time, and she even apologized for how she treated me. And I was glad. I was ready to give up our crazy fighting. After Sophie's surgery, things changed between us. Sophie didn't seem jealous of me anymore and even started hanging out with me and Easton. Then one day, I walked into my front yard and almost had a heart attack. Sophie was kissing Easton. Hey, does someone want to tell me what's going on here? Well... Violet, I've been meaning to tell you. Easton and I like each other, and I asked him out. I felt like I was gonna throw up. I pulled Sophie aside angrily. How could you do this to me? Sophie, I love him, and you know it. I know you love him, and I'm sorry, but I've been hanging out with Easton for a couple of weeks, and we have a connection. No, I have a connection with him. You barely know him. I don't get it. You got the surgery. You have everything I have now. Why would you hurt me like this? Violet, I'm not trying to hurt you. I really like Easton, and I just want to be happy for once. I can't take this anymore. You made me miserable for 14 years, and then got me kicked out of my own house, and convinced Mom to basically ground me for 24/7. This is the last straw. I stormed off and blocked Easton on all social media. He kept calling me to apologize and tell me that him dating Sophie wouldn't change our friendship, but I refused to speak to him. The next day at school, I decided it was time for overdue revenge. The first thing I did was attach a bucket of paint to the cafeteria doorway, and when Sophie walked in with Easton, paint splashed all over them. Everyone laughed like crazy, and I felt great. I got suspended for a day, but it was worth it. And I didn't stop there. That entire month, I pulled every prank I could think of on them at school, putting spiders in their locker and gluing their butts to the classroom chairs. I felt guilty for being a jerk, but Sophie deserved it, didn't she? And Easton was dating my sister, who bullied me my whole life. Then one day, I was studying in the courtyard when Easton walked over to me, and he looked furious. I've had it with you, Violet. Your jealousy has turned you insane. All the kids at school now are terrified of you. What do you mean? I've done nothing to anyone except you and Sophie. Really? 'Cause the bucket of paint from your prank got all over the cafeteria floor, and one kid tripped and sprained his ankle. I'm sorry you're hurt about me dating Sophie, but it happened organically. Our feelings for each other had nothing to do with you. I know you're hurt, but don't become a bully because of it." Easton walked off, and I thought about what he said. Maybe Sophie wasn't trying to hurt me, and her falling for Easton was just a coincidence. Maybe I could just be happy for her. So that week, I did everything I could to make things right with people. I volunteered to help as many kids as I could with homework, and they'd know I wasn't a monster. And I apologized to Sophie and Easton, and surprisingly, they forgave me. On Friday night, Sophie and Easton were celebrating their 1-month anniversary at the beach, so I told Sophie I'd deliver them a picnic basket. But when I got there, Sophie was sitting alone in the sand, and she was crying. "Hey, what's wrong? Where's Easton?" "He's not here, Violet. He's not coming." "Did you guys break up?" "No, because we never dated. It was all fake. I even paid Easton monthly and used up all my savings. I wanted to make you jealous." "Wait, what? I don't understand." "I thought that after my surgery, people would start treating me differently because my face looked better. I thought I'd finally get as much attention as you. But because my distortion isn't totally fixed, I didn't. And that made me angry. But I can't do this to you anymore. I feel horrible." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sophie kept apologizing, but I couldn't even look at her. I didn't want revenge. I just didn't want to deal with her anymore. Things completely changed between us after that. My sister and I both cut contact with Easton and became strangers to each other. It broke my heart, but I didn't know what else to do. We were toxic for each other. Before we knew it, high school ended and we both went our separate ways. A couple years later, I was walking around my university campus when I got a phone call. "Violet, it's Easton. I know we haven't spoken in years, but I need your help. My parents lost their house and are homeless. I'm doing everything I can to help them, but I'm desperate. I'm calling everyone I know for either money or food." My stomach was in knots. I still hated Easton for what he did, but he was obviously in a crisis. So I bought a bunch of food and clothes and arrived at the homeless shelter. God, you're an angel. I can't thank you enough. "I'm not doing this for you. It's for your parents. And I never want to see you after this. Do you understand?" "Yes. What I did to you was unforgivable. Can I just tell you one thing? I never wanted to go through with Sophie's fake dating plan. The only reason I agreed to it was because my family's been struggling since I was a kid. I was always terrified we'd end up living on the streets. It's still no excuse, especially because I was in love with you." My head started spinning. I had no idea Easton had been suffering that much, and I had no idea that he'd loved me. I decided it was time to smooth things over. That night, I went right home and convinced my parents to give Easton's family a loan. And then, I asked if they could invite Sophie for dinner. "Oh, sweetie, that's a wonderful idea. She's doing well these days, but she talks about you a lot." For some reason, I was happy to hear that. When Sophie came over, she immediately ran to hug me. "Violet, I am so glad you're here. Actually, I got you some presents." Sophie handed me a huge gift bag, and to my shock, she'd bought me all kinds of expensive presents. Perfume, jewelry, and even a brand new iPad. None of this makes up for how I've treated you over the years, but I love you, Violet, and if you ever want to have a relationship, I'm here. Thanks, Sophie. That means a lot. You did really hurt me, but it has been a couple of years. I can't forgive you overnight, but this is a good start. I also know you got in touch with Easton. If you ever want to date him, you have my blessing. It's a possibility, but first, I want to make things right with you. Though, of course, Sophie invited Easton over later and left us alone on our porch. I'm really glad you and Sophie made up. Do you think you can ever forgive me, Violet? I never really got over you. Wow, I didn't know that. But it will take me some time to trust you again. I understand that. I'm willing to wait as long as it takes. Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm from Ohio. Please like and subscribe. My parents always dreamt of being world-famous singers, but they could never become anything more than background vocals. So when me and my sister Tanya were born, Dad taught me all about music. While Tanya was Mom's favorite, 'cause she was the pretty one. Everyone admired her emerald green eyes and blonde hair. Once when we were 5, a woman even tried to steal her from the park. "Let go of my sister or I'm gonna scream!" "I'll give you $10, kid. Let go of her hand." Tanya and I struggled until she let go and ran away before the police came. Tanya hugged me tight. "Anna, you saved me." "No one touches you on my watch, sis."
Even growing up, she always had everyone's attention, whereas I enjoyed my simple life. But then in 10th grade, things took a wild turn. One day after school, we got home to see Dad being rushed to the hospital. He had a heart attack. A week passed by, and we found out he wasn't gonna get better unless he had this really expensive surgery, and we didn't have money for it. Mom was thinking about selling the house when, out of the blue, she got a phone call. After she hung up, she screamed like crazy. "My former agent told me they're looking for new talent and they're gonna pay huge money." She told us about a music audition that was happening in another week and asked us to grab the opportunity. On the day of the audition, everyone was stunned by Tanya's looks, but when she opened her mouth, they all covered her ears. "Hello from the other side." Someone grabbed the mic from her hands or shut off the speakers. I can't stand her voice. Well, he was over-exaggerating, but not entirely. Tanya couldn't sing a note, not even in the bathroom. A few minutes later, it was my turn, and when I started singing, the producers looked mesmerized. "I'm not giving up on you. You know I love you. Please hug me and say it back. I love you." After a long discussion, they announced they were gonna sign both of us, but there was one condition. They wanted me to sing, but in the background, for Tanya, she would lip sync to my voice. No, that's wrong. We won't be doing that. But Tanya held my hand with teary eyes. "Please, sis, you have to do this. We need the money." But Tanya, "Anna, my love, the future of our family rests on your shoulders now. Think about your dad. Think about our family, honey." I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stand to see my family suffering. So I agreed. After we signed the deal, all of Dad's hospital bills were paid, and he came back home all healthy in a month. And then it was just me and Tanya and the non-ending music videos and tours around the country. Everywhere Tanya went, people would go crazy for her. They would literally jump over each other to catch sight of her. These people were nuts. And clearly, this was getting to Tanya's head, because when we returned to school after summer break, she started acting like a queen and a bully. "Get out of my seat. That's my spot. Don't you know who I am?" The guy didn't even flinch and kept munching on his sandwich, and Tanya looked as furious as a dragon. "Hey, it's okay. We can take another seat. Maybe he can't hear." But she just picked up a bottle full of mustard and dumped it on his head. "You've got to be frickin' kidding me." I looked at the guy, who looked raging mad. "Hey, I'm sorry about my sister. She's a little... Please let it go. I'll pay for your jacket later." I grabbed Tanya's hand as I pulled her out of there. "Have you lost your mind? Didn't you see? He was acting as if he didn't know me." "Tanya, you're not the president, and you should..." "Whatever, Anna. You didn't have to say sorry to him. He's a jerk." Saying that, she stormed away. Ugh, such a diva. Later, after school was over, I went into the music room to practice my singing. But just as I finished, I heard someone clap behind me, and I was shocked to see the guy from the cafeteria, Brandon.
That voice. That's your sister's voice when she sings, isn't it?
Oh God, what now? But he didn't know anything for sure. I thought you didn't know her. And now you know her voice?
I never said that. She just assumed it. I know who she is. And now I know her little secret.
You know nothing. With every sentence, he kept getting closer as I was backing away. I tripped over something, and he caught me. "What are you even doing here? Everyone's gone."
But you're still here, and you kinda owe me something.
My eyes widened at that, but then he put me back on my feet and continued.
You said you'll pay for my jacket. I'm here to collect the money.
Right. What was I even thinking? I gave him some money from my bag and ran out of there. A few days later, while I was in the library, Tanya came to me. "I want you to go and give this to Brandon and tell him that I want to meet him at the cafe tonight." "What? Why? What are you up to now?" "Didn't you see? He ignored me. He isn't like the other guys who were running after me 24/7. I like him. I want him. I want to make him my frickin' boyfriend." "Well, then you go and talk to him. Why should I do it?" "Because I'm me, duh. I'm a superstar. I can't make the first move. I don't want to look desperate. Do it for me, please."
Reluctantly, I left a note on his table and asked him to come to the cafe and ran out of there. Later, Tanya asked me to tag along, and just when we reached the cafe, she saw some random people with cameras there.
Oh no, paparazzi. I can't be seen with anyone. My contract doesn't allow me to date publicly, Anna.
But what about Brandon? He's waiting for you.
Can you please go and tell him I'll see him tomorrow at school? Okay, thanks, bye.
Saying that, she ran into a cab and rode away. Now I had no choice but to inform Brandon myself, so I went in. Hey, I'm sorry, but I thought you wouldn't come and that this was some stupid prank, but I'm glad you're here. What? Me? Wait, did he think I was the one who called him here? Shoot! I wanted to tell him everything, but he looked so happy to see me, and he'd ordered all my favorite food items. I thought I could wait another few minutes before telling him, but as time went by, things just kept getting better and better. He was pretty cool. After our little date, he walked me back home. This was my chance to tell him the truth, but he just pulled me in for a kiss, and gosh, it was amazing. Suddenly, I heard Tanya coming out the front door, and I pushed him away into the bushes and rushed in. The next day, I was looking for him everywhere to tell him the truth, but I found Tanya was already talking to him in the corridor. Frickin' fishes. What do you mean you don't like me? Then why did you show up at the cafe last night? What are you, crazy? I wasn't waiting for you. I was there for Anna. I wouldn't date someone as mean as you, even if you were the last girl on earth. How dare you? Tanya slapped him hard and ran out of there, and all the kids were recording everything on their phones. This was bad. I ran after Tanya, but she pushed me away. Get lost, Anna. I told you I liked him, but you trapped him first. Tanya, stop it. I didn't do anything. He liked me from the beginning, and you sent me to him. Yeah, it was my biggest mistake, thinking I could trust you. Traitor witch. She jumped onto me and grabbed my hair, and we broke into a huge fight. Mom and Dad were called in, and the principal showed them the videos the kids had recorded. He said Tanya's behavior was getting worse day by day, and she was suspended for a month. I felt so bad and went to hug her later that night and told her I wasn't going to see Brandon anymore, and she immediately hugged me. But when I went to my room, Brandon was already waiting there. Why are you avoiding me? And what was your sis talking about today? Brandon, you can't be here. Get out now. Hey, chill. Why do you look so tense? Tell me what happened. He pulled me close into his arms, and I just melted. I told him everything, honestly, and then he looked into my eyes. I won't force you to like me, but if you do, I won't let anyone keep you away from me, Anna. He moved in to kiss me, but just then, Tanya came into my room with a fire extinguisher in her hand and sprayed it all over us. I knew it, you ugly cow. I knew you're a filthy backstabber, and I'm gonna destroy you both. Suddenly, Mom and Dad came running too, and she was taken back to her room. And I was grounded for a week for inviting a boy. We had a big concert soon, and though I was super mad at Tanya, I still had to help her because of our contract. As usual, I was singing backstage while the entire crowd was cheering for Tanya. After the performance was over, she was given an award for star performer. Even Mom and Dad were called on stage. You guys must feel truly blessed to have a daughter with the voice of an angel. It's an honor. We're so lucky to have her. For some reason, I felt really left out, and I smashed my mic on the ground. Just then, someone from the audience asked Tanya to dedicate a song to Mom. Holy moly. Tanya made this gesture with her hands that was my cue to sing every time. But my mic, it was lying broken on the floor. She started singing without me, and everyone in the audience heard her real voice. Oh my God! A wave of silence passed through the audience, and Tanya looked at me super mad. The crowd started chanting that she was a fraud who did lip syncing. They went mad and started climbing onto the stage. The bodyguards immediately took Tanya and my parents away to safety and left me there all by myself. How could they? I ran out of the venue and I was raging mad. I did so much for them and they didn't care about me one bit. But when I reached home, I was shocked to see a huge crowd gathered in front of my house. What in the world was happening?
Just then, my phone went buzzing like crazy with videos and messages from everyone. Tanya's bullying and lip-syncing videos were going viral, and someone uploaded my video as the real singer too. Holy Mother of Jesus! I quickly went into the house through the back door, and on seeing me, Tanya viciously threw a vase at me, which I barely missed. Just then, I saw all the singing awards and trophies she was burning in the fireplace. Oh my God, have you gone crazy? Why would you do that? What were you thinking? Trying to ruin me? What? Are you kidding me? It was an accident. Oh, was it? Or is it because you want some fame for yourself now? Just remember this, you witch. People hear your voice because of my face. Otherwise, no one would ever pay you, even if you sang on the roadside. Who was this monster? You're such a mean, self-absorbed brat, Tanya. I can't believe you'd say that to me when the fact is, you're only a star because of my voice. Without me, you're just a pretty dumb face. Tanya picked up a burning trophy in her hand and charged at me with full force. You took away everything from me. The guy I loved, my reputation at school, and now my fame too. I'm gonna kill you. Thankfully, Mom and Dad came in and stopped her just in time.
Stop this madness right now. I can't believe we were so blinded by your beauty and fame that we never realized what a monster you were turning into. Dad took the burning trophy from her hand and threw it away.
Anna, we're so sorry. We've never truly appreciated you for everything you've done for us. You're the daughter that every parent would be proud of. Please, forgive us.
Oh, Mom, Dad, you people are just morons. And I'm not letting go of my fame so easily. Watch this. I'm gonna walk out and everyone is still gonna love me. Tanya opened the front door and walked out, and all the media surrounded her.
So, is it true you can't sing? And that creepy frog voice we heard? Was it your real voice?
And who's the real singer? Is she your sister? We want to say her. You're just fake trash. Just then, a bunch of anti-fans started throwing eggs and rotten tomatoes at her. She was screaming like crazy and pushing through the crowd to get to her car. And well, I was enjoying it. She was totally getting what she deserved. I thought I'd get a better view from my room, so I went up and found Brandon there. I immediately hugged him.
Whoa, the truth's all out now. And I can't believe I'm dating the real star. I'm excited for your famous life now.
No, Brandon. I just want a peaceful life. And if you're with me to enjoy some kind of popularity, you got the wrong girl.
No, babe. I don't care about what you choose, just as long as I can be with you, always.
Hi, my name is Barbara, but people call me Barbie because I look like one. Please like and subscribe before I continue. Dad was a billionaire who owned a multi-industry company. Growing up, my twin brother Ford and I were used to getting everything we wanted. But for him, it wasn't enough because he wanted everything for himself. On our 5th birthday, Dad gave me a Barbie doll while he gave Ford a toy car. But he wasn't happy.
My car needs a driver, so give me that doll. Over my cute body.
He got back at me by scratching Dad's new Lamborghini and blaming it on me. I was grounded for a month. He also loved to make fun of the brown birthmark on my face.
Maybe that's why you stink, because there's permanent poop on your cheek. Stop saying I stink when I don't. Everyone might think it's true. Too late. I've already told everyone about it.
I tried complaining to Dad, but he was always too busy to care. But one day in the 5th grade, I discovered a way to cover up my birthmark by using loads of makeup. I told Ford that I had it removed by a doctor, and he was so stupid he actually believed it. He was always a pain in the butt, until he started dating this gold digger Tiffany in high school. He got too busy to annoy me all the time, thank God. In 10th grade, my boyfriend Zach and I decided to celebrate his birthday by going away to Greece for the weekend. We were about to take off in Dad's private jet when suddenly, the pilot came out of the cockpit and said we had a problem. I looked out the window and saw Ford arriving with Tiffany. What are they doing here? We're celebrating our anniversary in Hawaii, so all of you, get out. Breaking news, dummy. I came here first. I don't care. Get lost. You get lost.
I was about to push him, but I screamed when Tiffany suddenly pulled me by my hair. The boys tried to stop us as we fought, but we ended up landing in the cockpit and falling on the navigation controls, damaging them completely. As soon as the news reached Dad, he called us both for a meeting in his library. I thought he was gonna kill us, but what he said totally took us by surprise.
I'm thinking of leaving my company to someone capable. And obviously, that's me, Dad. This dumb brat spends thousands of dollars on clothes and makeup every single weekend.
Hello? You literally buy whatever your girlfriend pouts her lips for.
Enough. You're both too dumb and spoiled. I'll give you a month to prove yourself, or I'll leave the company and all my fortune to a stranger instead. Prove ourselves? In what way, Dad? Figure it out, and make me proud for once.
It was gonna be tough, but there was no way I'd let Ford win this. The next day, I visited Dad's company's headquarters to study the performance for the past year, and I found out that Dad had been planning to develop a new mall, but he was having a hard time getting approval for its location from the mayor's office. Wait a minute, what if I dated the mayor's son, Leo, so he'd help me win his dad's approval? Leo was a senior in school, and Dad would be impressed if I was dating a smart future politician. There was only one problem, my boyfriend. I needed to get rid of him. The next day at school, we were having lunch together when he suddenly sneezed, and I started crying hard.
What's wrong, babe?
The way you sneeze, I really hate it. It's giving me a stroke. And the way you breathe, it's so heavy I could hear it from miles away. I've been suffering silently, but I just can't take it anymore. Just work on yourself and maybe we can give it another chance soon, yeah?
Are you freaking serious?
Goodbye, Zach, for now. He kept throwing tantrums all day, but I ignored him and started working on my current target, Leo. Aside from being a genius, he was also famous for being too serious. I'd never seen him smile. I stalked him and found out that he always stayed in the library. Boring. One day he was sitting alone and I walked up to him and pointed to the thick book beside him. Could you hand me over that physics book?
This is a chemistry book.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got confused. Physics and chemistry are similar words.
No, they're not.
Oh, what's that you're reading? You're into literature too? I love Michael Jackson. Do you know about him?
Yeah, of course I do. But I like Shakespeare more.
Shakespeare? That's a cool name. Before he could say something, his friend suddenly called him. Just when I thought we were connecting. As Leo walked by, Zach suddenly appeared and pulled me into a corner.
Why are you flirting with this guy? I thought our breakup isn't official yet.
Don't take it personally. I just need him to help me get his father's approval for my dad's project.
And when you win that inheritance, you'll get back with me, right?
Sure, whatever.
I'll wait for you.
Don't hold your breath. A few days later, I heard that Leo was running as a president for the student council again. But what shocked me was Ford was running too. So that was his first move to prove himself and impress Dad, huh? And the next day at school, Ford challenged me to run against him. And why would I do that?
So we can settle who's better. Obviously, it's me, but I badly want to see you cry.
Do you really think I'm that dumb? You never play fair. I told you, she's scared. Since you're begging for it, then fine. See you at the elections.
Nice. Any last words?
Send my regards to Satan. Oh wait, that's you. And with that, I stormed off. But if Leo was also running, I didn't have any chance to win. He had already won 3 times in the past. I immediately talked to him about this. I also want to run for school president, but with you on the list, I don't think I stand a chance.
So you want me to back out?
Yeah, leave it to me this time.
Why are you running?
Basically, I hate my brother and he's running and I want to beat him myself. But I need your support.
And what do I get in return?
You can date me, I guess. To my surprise, he smiled at me and said,
Sure.
Wait, are you serious? He just winked at me and walked away, leaving my heart fluttering with that smile. I was so confused. It was time to put our names down as candidates the next day, and I was surprised to see Leo was running as my vice president instead. What are you doing?
Supporting my girlfriend.
So he really was serious about it. I couldn't believe making him fall for me was this easy. I decided I'd wait a few days before I started talking about the mall project so it wouldn't look suspicious. We started hanging out together, and sure, he was serious, but he was also sweet and funny, not boring at all. He even introduced me to a super cool channel on YouTube called My Story Animated, and when I saw their videos, I actually found them exciting and relatable, especially about those billionaire girls. On the weekend, he asked me out on a date, and I said yes. While driving, someone suddenly called him and he turned to me.
I was supposed to lead Dad's charity drive at a hospital tomorrow, but they moved it to today, and they need me there. I'm so sorry.
Instead of sulking, I smiled and volunteered to come along. Seeing all those sick people who couldn't afford treatment made me realize how lucky I was. And the way Leo talked to these people made my heart melt. Later that night as he drove me home, he suddenly took my hand and kissed it.
You must be really tired.
I'm fine. Actually, I had a great time.
The date isn't over yet. I've got a surprise.
He took me to a closed restaurant and revealed that his mom owned it. So, how are we supposed to eat?
Watch me.
To my surprise, he started working in the kitchen himself and ended up with the most delicious meal ever.
I can't believe I'm with someone like you, a goddess.
Yeah, I know. Thousands of guys wish to be you, so you're very lucky. My heart went wild when he tucked a strand of hair behind my ear.
You're really funny and pretty.
I stared back at him and just found myself leaning in closer for a kiss. I felt like I was on cloud 9. It was the least fancy date I'd ever been on, but it was the best time I'd ever had in my life. Soon, we made our relationship official, and Zach wasn't happy.
You broke up with me because of him, didn't you?
No, Zach, we just didn't work out. I'm sure you can find someone better.
You're gonna regret this.
Zach was too dumb to do something that could actually ruin me, so I just ignored him. When the election campaign started, Ford and Tiffany were spending Dad's money like crazy. They covered the whole school with pictures of their stupid faces and threw the biggest parties every single night. Ford also promised everyone he'd turn the whole school into a teenage paradise, making him win by a landslide. I lost so badly. He kept on bragging about his victory at dinner, and Dad looked impressed.
I think I'm gonna win this too. And when I take over everything, the first thing I'll do is make you miserable. Say goodbye to all your credit cards.
Don't be too confident. Maybe you'll be the one who ends up crying.
I really doubt that.
Ford made me so mad. I had no choice but to finally use Leo's connections for Dad's mall project. I brought it up, and to my surprise, he immediately talked to his father about it. A few days later, I introduced him to Dad over dinner, and he looked stunned when he learned that Leo was the mayor's son.
You should have informed me earlier. I would have told the chefs to make something fancier. I'm fine with anything, sir. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
They seemed to be getting along really well, and Dad then finally brought up the project.
Oh, Barbie mentioned it to me the other day, and I've already talked to my father about it. He's looking forward to meeting you.
Dad looked super happy, and once the project was finalized, he even threw a party to celebrate it.
You made this happen, my dear Barbie. You've shown me how valuable you can be.
Ford was smoky red with rage. I gave him a smirk as Dad made a toast for it. Later that night, I thought about a plan to give back to Leo. He'd told me about an orphanage he had set up, and I decided I'd donate books and laptops to the kids there. I talked to Dad about it, and he was happy to support me. The next day at school, I was waiting for Leo at the canteen to talk about it, when suddenly, Ford came and took my plate of spaghetti and rubbed it in my face.
I told you not to mess with me.
As I angrily rubbed it off my face with tissues, I suddenly realized people were staring at me in shock. Oh no, all of my makeup was gone. Oh look, there's poop on her face.
Breaking news, everyone. My sister's been hiding this gross birthmark under her makeup for years. Look, Leo, she's even deceived you, just so she could be your girlfriend.
I tried to hide it, but it was too late. Leo had arrived and was staring at me. I was about to run away when suddenly he grabbed Ford by the collar and pushed him up against the wall.
She's still the most beautiful girl in the world to me, but you sure are the biggest jerk.
I heard everyone actually agreeing with him, but Ford started laughing like a maniac.
Okay, the poop mark didn't change your mind?
So how about this?
To my surprise, Zach showed up from behind him and started playing a recorder with an evil grin.
Why are you flirting with this guy? I thought our breakup isn't official yet.
Don't take it personally. I just need him to help me get his father's approval for my dad's project. Blood drained from my face as we all listened to the whole conversation. I couldn't believe my ex-boyfriend teamed up with my evil brother. I tearfully ran after a furious Leo. Leo, please, let me explain.
Explain what? That I was just part of your stupid plan? I can't believe I actually fell for a spoiled brat like you.
Yes, I planned it, but then I started to have real feelings for you.
Yeah, right. Please, don't ever talk to me again.
He ignored me completely after that, and I lost all my motivation. Ford took it as an opportunity to redeem himself. He spent tons of money on billboards across the city advertising Dad's clothing stores with himself and Tiffany as models. The sales actually went up. A few days later, Dad informed us that he'd finally made a decision. I was sure Ford had won, but I didn't even care by now.
I decided to give everything to...
Ford had already gotten up with a proud smirk.
Barbara, congratulations, darling. I'll see you in my office tomorrow for the signing of the papers.
Wait, what? Suddenly, Ford went psycho.
You can't do this to me, Dad. I've worked so hard for this. It's not too late to change your mind. I based my decision on how you spent my money the past month. You wasted $10 million and never did anything meaningful. Barbara proved her interest by learning about the company. And she even made a huge project happen. You're talking nonsense, you stupid old man.
And then I just snapped. I flung a glass of juice at his face. You can insult me all you want, but don't you dare talk like that to our dad, you jerk!
You're gonna pay for this.
Before he could hurt me, Dad called his bodyguards to take Ford away. He grounded him in his room, and I could hear him destroying things all day. He was scaring me. The next day, I fell asleep in my bathtub, and when I woke up, I realized that my phone was gone. I got up to find it, but the door was locked, as well as the windows. Just then, lots of bugs started to crawl in from somewhere. I screamed, but no one seemed to hear me. Help! Someone, please, open the frickin' door! The bugs were getting nearer, and I passed out. Dad's worried face was the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes again. I was in the hospital.
My darling, Barbie, thank God you're okay.
Dad, Ford tried to hurt me.
I know. Your brother's gone. I sent him away to a boarding school in Russia.
I was surprised and relieved at the same time.
Maybe I shouldn't have made you two compete. It was a stupid decision, and it made Ford crazy. Even you started dating someone you don't even like.
No, Dad, it's the complete opposite. I really like Leo. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. Suddenly, Leo showed up from behind Dad.
And you're the best thing that happened to me too.
Leo, what are you doing here?
I heard you were in the hospital, so I had to come see you. And your dad also talked to me about your plan with the orphanage. The kids would really love that.
Does this mean you've decided to forgive me? I'm so sorry, Leo.
Barbie, I understand the pressure your dad put you through, and I think it was a smart plan. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have even noticed me.
I've always noticed you. I just thought you were too serious for me.
Yeah, I'm indeed serious about you.
Okay. I think you deserve another chance to get to know me.
I love you.
I love you too. Hi, my name is Ada, and I'm from New York. Me and my twin sister Gia were born to two very chaotic parents who fought like Tom and Jerry all the time. And on the very day we were born, they picked up a twin each and decided to make us the best version of themselves.
Ada is hungry. She needs milk. Oh, since you chose her, why don't you feed her from your nipples?
Yep, Dad picked me, and growing up, he taught me the Turkish language because he was from Turkey. And Gia was Mom's favorite, so Mom taught her Italian because she was from Italy. Although we spoke English at home, that whole language thing kinda became the reason for all the chaos and misunderstandings in the family. Because of Mom and Dad's fights, I could never get close to Mom, and I hated that. So once, when I was 8, I decided to make a card for Mom for the new year and asked Gia for help. When Mom saw it, she went ballistic. Sei una vaca grassa, which meant, you're a fat cow.
God, you're so rude, Ada.
just like your jerk dad. I always knew I made the right choice by picking Gia.
I was furious. That witch made me do this. I ran to Gia and pulled her by her hair. Why did you do that to me? 'Cause Dad loves you more than me, and I hate it. So what? Mom loves you more than me. Just then, Mom came and separated us and said something to Gia in Italian. What did you say?
Not your freaking business. Go to your daddy and hug him.
But Gia glared at me and spit at my face, and another fight broke out. She beat me to it, and I got a black eye, but I was so gonna get back at her. The funny thing was about us, Gia and I were identical twins. We both looked so much alike that even our parents couldn't tell us apart, and I was gonna use that against her. The next day, I went to school and punched a kid straight in the face. I rule the school. No one dares mess with me. Remember my name. It's Gia. That would land Gia in detention for sure. But my plan kinda backfired when both Mom and Dad were called to the principal's office. And when they couldn't figure out who it was between us, they started blaming each other for it in front of the principal.
Sei stupido.
Yeah, whatever. Same to you. Back at you.
Così stupido tu animale.
The principal let us off without any punishment because she just wanted to get my parents out of her office. But it's not like they ever stopped. On Thanksgiving dinner, Mom served pizza and Dad went ballistic.
Where's the freaking turkey? Who even makes pizza on Thanksgiving? You stupid woman.
Turkey, turkey. Go ask your mother to make you a turkey.
And saying that, Mom threw a plate at Dad, which he avoided. But then Dad grabbed the ketchup bottle and pointed it at Mom.
Don't you dare. This is a designer top.
Watch me.
And he squeezed out all of the ketchup onto Mom's top. Mom shrieked, and soon our dinner table turned into a war zone. Gia and I felt terrible. Mom and Dad didn't even care about any happy occasion or us anymore. They just fought all the time. Then one day in the 7th grade, when Gia and I got back home after school, Mom and Dad finally dropped the bomb on us.
We are getting a divorce. Ada is going to live with her dad in Turkey, and Gia is going to live with me in Italy.
What? No way! You can't do that! No, Mom! No, Dad! I can't live without you guys! I want all of us together! Please, don't do this! But they didn't listen to us and said it was final. Later that night, I went to talk to Gia in her room. I thought she might not listen to me, but she hugged me as soon as she saw me. Oh, Ada, I'm so glad you're here. Even though we fight all the time, I can't live without you and Dad, sis. We have to do something. What can we do? Our parents just hate us. They're selfish and only think about themselves. Then let's just run away. They'll get busy looking for us, and then they'll forget all about this stupid divorce thing. They'll understand how much we need them. I won't let this happen. I won't let them ruin our lives. We have to stay together no matter what. But Mom and Dad had already filed for the divorce, and within a week, they even signed the final papers. But then, I had a brilliant idea. I could switch places with Gia and go with Mom to Italy. We would tell them about the swap after 6 months. And when they'd meet again to exchange us, maybe they'd be less angry and realize that they still loved each other. Yes, this was perfect. I immediately told Gia about it, and she happily agreed. Soon after, Mom and I flew off to Italy, and there, Mom had a huge place of her own. As soon as we got there, a maid came running and grabbed all our luggage.
Benvenuta, signorina.
And that's when it hit me. I could not understand a word of Italian. And this reminded me of Gia. She was also stuck in Turkey and didn't know a word of Turkish. God knows what kind of trouble she was going through. Marhaba birkaç erkek alabilir miyim?
What are you saying, kid? Are you out of your mind?
Soon after, Mom enrolled me in school, and my first day was a complete mess. The teacher asked me to introduce myself, and I said, Ciao, mi chiamo Gia, siete tutti brutti. Everyone gasped and looked at me like I'd cursed them. All I said was they were nice, but for some reason, none of them would talk to me now. The next day during lunchtime, pizza was being served in the cafeteria, but I noticed there wasn't enough cheese on top. Can I get more cheese on this? The server stared at me like I had asked for her kidney.
And dude, this was a clear mistake. Asking for more cheese in Italy is considered super rude, but I didn't know that. Cheese? Vacca grassa? The lady glared at me and jumped over the food counter to attack me. She chased me for a mile around the school until the principal caught us both. She sternly told me off for being rude and said she was going to call my mom later. And I felt like a terrible kid. Mom was already dealing with the divorce, and now I was adding more to her troubles. I thought I'd apologize to her as soon as I got home, but what I saw next shocked me. Mom was having a pool party with her friends, and they were all having the time of their lives. What the crap? Mom, what's going on here? Oh, honey, I'm having so much fun. You should join us. If I knew life without your father would be so amazing, I'd have divorced him before the wedding. I feel like I'm 20 again. Woohoo! What? I thought she'd be missing Dad and me, but she was having a blast. This was so weird and not what I expected. I quickly went to my room and called Gia to tell her how Mom was going completely crazy. But what she told me shocked me even more. Dad was gonna get engaged within a week. This was insane. We had to get Mom and Dad back together soon, by any means possible. The next day, I was all set to break the news to Mom, but what I saw almost gave me a heart attack. She introduced me to a not-so-handsome man as her boyfriend. Ciao, sono Roberto, signorina. And before I could even say anything, they put me in a car and took me shopping with them. But I had to do something to get rid of all this Italian pasta sauce at all costs. When Mom went inside the changing room, I told him to leave her alone. Voglio che tu ami mia madre. Suddenly, he had tears in his eyes, and he hugged me. What was wrong? Then he took a rose from his pocket and proposed to my mom in the most romantic way possible. Sarai mia, signorina. Mom looked awestruck, and then she said the words that I dreaded the most. Si, lo farò. OMG, what the heck was happening? Our plan was literally falling apart. The next day, I stormed off to school in anger. But in the school corridor, a guy pulled my hand and started flirting with me. Hi, beautiful. Want to go and get some cheese with me? I'll open factories for you. Ew, he was so gross. And I was so done with kids making fun of me for not knowing the language. I knew a little Italian by now, so I told him to leave me alone. But he didn't, so I slapped him hard. He left and he went to tell the principal some lies that I forced him to kiss me. An hour later, Mom barged into the principal's office and she looked raging mad. Your kid has been misbehaving with our staff and been doing inappropriate things to boys. Mom, I didn't. Oh, I know my daughter very well. It's the school that's stupid, and I'm putting her into a better one. We are done here. Oh my God, she was so unpredictable. While driving me back home, I thought Mom would scold me, but instead, she said something that completely shocked me. It's okay, honey. If you're ever in a place where you're unhappy, then you can always move away. Just like I did, Ada. What? Did she just call me by my real name? Mom, you know? Of course I know. You're my child. Really? Well, no. This morning after you left for school, I went to your room and I saw your pink-colored undies, which Gia hates. But why did you do this, honey? Imagine everything Gia has been going through there. She doesn't even know the language. We want you guys to get back together. But Mom didn't say a word to that. And as soon as we reached home, she called Dad and told him everything. But Dad, like always, wouldn't believe her. I'm not going to fall for your pranks, woman. Do you think I'm a fool? Of course I know it's my daughter. It's Ada. But minutes later, he called her back saying he knew from the beginning it wasn't me. Mom immediately got on a plane with me. When we landed at the airport, I saw Gia and Dad waiting for us outside. I ran towards her and she hugged me as soon as she saw me. I missed you so much, sister. Minutes later, Mom asked Gia to follow her and Dad asked me to come with him, but I had to try one last time. Enough, you guys. We are not going anywhere. We want to live together like a family. Please, can't you do this for us? Yes, I want to live with Ada and Mom. Not like this, where I feel so empty and alone and unloved. I want to be happy. Mom and Dad looked at us in complete surprise.
Oh, honey, why would you ever think you're alone? No matter what happens between me and Mom, nothing could ever change the fact that we're your parents, and we love you so much. You'll always have both of us.
Then why can't we all live together? Because that won't make any of us happy. We wanted to raise you in a happy home with great memories, but living together, we could never give you any of that. And now look at us. We are happy, and we can give you the best of the world only if you choose to accept it. Suddenly, I had tears in my eyes. Maybe Mom was right. She looked a lot happier and healthier than she ever used to be with Dad. And Dad, he looked like he was gonna explode with joy. And now, the only people fighting against this happiness was me and Gia. This had to stop. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we knew what the right thing to do was. We agreed to Mom and Dad's plan, but we decided we weren't going to sacrifice our happiness either. So Gia and I decided to live with Mom, and both of us moved back to Italy with her. But we often visited Dad and his new family, and we were the happiest.
Hi, I'm Tanya, and I live in Manhattan. Before I jump into the juicy stuff, please like and subscribe. My twin sister Natasha and I were born to super rich parents. Dad was a successful businessman, and my mom was an ex-supermodel from France. And a little wacko in the head. Growing up, Mom told us all the amazing things about her country. Oh, chérie, it is a beautiful country. So many good places to go and huge gardens. I miss it. Mom made France sound like a paradise. And while I got attracted to its beauty, language, and culture, Natasha was fascinated by its fashion and style. I wanted to go there so badly that I practically begged my dad every year for a vacation. Not this year, princess. Maybe when my Natasha becomes a famous model, we'll all go to Paris Fashion Week, Mom said. And she was serious. Mom was obsessed with making Natasha a supermodel. She got her to participate in all the baby pageants, and by the time we turned 5, Natasha's face was on every cereal box in the country. She was famous and evil. At school, she walked around like she owned the place, and at home, she was horrible to all the people who worked for us. She flaunted the fact that she was half French, and the worst was when she spoke in her terrible French accent. One time, Natasha caught our maid's son plucking flowers from our garden, and she went crazy. How dare you? That is my favorite flower. Didn't your mother tell you it is illegal to pluck flowers from my garden? Stupide. The boy looked confused as hell. What? You're fired, you moron. The poor boy was horrified, and the next day he left with his mother. He was just a kid. Why do you have to be so rude all the time? Why do you have to be so rude? Because I can and because he deserved it. Who knows what else he might have stolen? Don't be such a wuss now. Dad tried his best to be there for me, but he was hardly ever around. He was always flying on business trips and bought us the most expensive gifts. When everyone was asleep, he would secretly slip in an extra gift just for me.
This is the author's copy of your favorite book. Enjoy!
Thanks, Dad. I love you. Eventually, I got tired of gifts and realized that this was his way of making up for his absence. Years flew by, and finally, we turned 16. Mom and Dad went out and planned the most amazing Sweet 16 party for us. That day at school, I couldn't wait to go home. Dad promised to buy me the latest iPad, and I was over the moon. But as always, he got busy, and I was stuck with the devil duo. While Mom made Natasha try 1,000 dresses, I just sat in the corner with a book and waited for this misery to end. Oh my God, you're such a buzzkill. Can't you behave like a normal teenager for once? You mean normal like you are? No thank you. It was the best party ever. And when everyone left, Dad introduced us to some of his old friends who ran a successful modeling agency in LA. He had trained some of the most famous supermodels in the world. He came with his son Ryan, who was drop-dead gorgeous, and the most attractive guy I'd ever seen. He had big blue eyes and the body of a demigod. And don't even get me started on the hair.
Girls, Ryan will be joining your school from tomorrow, so make sure you show him around.
Oh, I could do that, Daddy. No problem. Natasha beamed like she would take a bullet for Ryan. This was the first time she moved her butt to help anyone but herself, so I was genuinely confused. It was only later when I heard her talk to Mom that I understood why she was so excited to help Ryan.
He's a dumb boy, but his father can help you get to the top, baby. Make sure he falls for you, mon amour.
The next day, the entire school was drooling over Ryan's looks. As if Natasha wasn't high-headed enough, now her popularity went shooting off the roof with Ryan as her arm candy. And Ryan followed her like a lost puppy all the time. Ryan, honey, please get me my salad. Don't forget the toppings. No fat though. I can't lose my precious figure.
Coming right up, princess.
He went rushing to give Natasha a fat-loaded burger with a milkshake. No wonder he got it wrong with her pulling off that incredible accent. And that's when I knew that whatever little crush I had on him was long gone, and he was all charm and no brains. The next few days were a blur. Our school musical was coming up and I was the lead writer, so I was drowning in work from head to toe. During the final week of our rehearsals, the drama teacher came running to me. She looked like she'd seen a ghost.
Tanya, can you change the storyline and not have a male lead at all? Our lead actor in the play fell and broke his leg.
Holy bananas! There's no way we could do that on such short notice. I was losing my mind over the situation, but just then I saw Ryan walk into the hall.
I was passing by when I heard you guys. I can be your lead guy. I have a really good memory, and I can learn the lines in no time.
Oh, you're a savior! No problem. I gave him his script and asked him to learn everything. Within 15 minutes, he was all set. That was fast. Are you sure you can do this?
I can do it if you're willing to help me. Practice my lines with me, will ya?
When he started saying his lines, I stared at him wide-eyed. It was like I'd written the part for him, and he looked perfect with that face and voice.
If you keep staring at me, I'll get awkward.
Sorry. Anyway, you keep practicing. I gotta go. I have a class. I'll see you tomorrow. I hurried to the door to find Natasha fuming in anger. I had no idea that she'd been standing there all this time, watching us like a hawk. What the hell was that? What was what? I saw how you were looking at him. Listen, you nerd, I know you're my sister and all, but don't you dare make a move on Ryan. He's gonna ask me out, and I don't want you, of all people, to ruin this. Just dive into your books and buzz off. Okay, you jealous freak. I wasn't making a move on your boy toy. We were practicing for the school musical. Also, why do you care? You don't even like him. You're only using him so you could reach his dad and become famous. Don't make that face. I know what you and Mom are plotting. Natasha turned red and charged onto me like a raging bull. We broke into a fight, and by the time our teachers broke us apart, she had a massive blue mark smack in the middle of her face. I have a shoot today, you moron! Look what you've done! Get over it. You're great at hiding things, aren't you? Use some makeup and stay away from me. During rehearsals the next day, Ryan told us that he was having a huge party at his house. It was his birthday and the whole school was invited. I just have to look my best. I want all eyes on me, especially Ryan's. Natasha said, jumping around like a frog, trying out dresses like a maniac. Wow, real mature. Just as I was about to leave the room to get away from her awful voice, she jumped on my head and said, "Why are you running off so soon? Listen, not that I care, but if you do manage to get your boring butt to the party, you will stay away from Ryan. Do you get me? I will legit throw you in the barn if you say a word to him. Make all the assumptions in the world you want to. I like my life drama-free." And I walked back into the room, leaving Natasha sizzling in anger. The next day after the party, everyone waited for Ryan at the rehearsals, but he never showed up. I called him a million times, but he kept rejecting my calls. I searched and searched for him and finally found him sitting on the bleachers. Hey, we've been waiting for you for the past hour. You should have told us if you were planning to ditch us at the last moment.
Go away, Tanya. I'm not in the mood.
Ryan looked sad. I sat next to him and asked him what was wrong.
Yesterday was my birthday, and all I wanted to do was spend some time with Natasha. I honestly really like her, but she never even wished me a happy birthday. She came to the party, went straight to meet my dad, and then she just vanished.
My heart went out to Ryan. He deserved so much better than my evil sister. Natasha can be mean sometimes. She's the pampered one. Hang in there. I'm sure she'll come around. Ryan looked at me with his deep blue eyes and his heart-melting smile, and we went on our way to practice. Our musical was a massive hit, and everyone applauded and congratulated the team. And after that day, Ryan and I started hanging out more often and became best of friends. I was happy I finally had someone to discuss my books and work with, and he was happy because he could finally get answers to all his annoying questions.
What does Natasha like to eat? What's her favorite color? What's her favorite perfume?
He was obsessed with her. And then one evening when I had just gotten back from school, I saw Ryan standing in the driveway with the prettiest flowers.
I'm gonna ask Natasha to be my girlfriend today. I hope she says yes.
Oh, that she will, but not for the right reasons. As his friend, I thought it was high time he knew the truth. Natasha was the meanest person on earth and a manipulative witch, and Ryan needed to know before he got his heart broken. I gathered the courage to tell him the truth, but just then Natasha walked in looking like an angel, and Ryan's mouth went flying open. What an idiot! "Ay, gorgeous, don't you look handsome? And flowers? For me? Oh, sweet, you're the best, Ryan." With that, they drove off in Ryan's supercar. They deserved each other. The fake beauty with no brains. After about an hour, as I was about to jump into my bed, I got a frantic call from Mom.
It's your sister. Hurry, come to the hospital.
Mom told me that Ryan's car had a terrible accident on their way to the movies, and Natasha had been seriously injured. I rushed to the emergency room, panting and falling, to find her sitting with my parents watching an MSA video. What on earth happened? I was terrified. She doesn't look hurt at all. Oh, but I am. See? I scratched my perfect skin. It'll take days for me to heal from this. Do you know how much makeup will go into hiding this? Also, I scratched my ankle, but I'll just wear new boots, so it's okay. What in the name of Jesus was wrong with this family?
Tanya, you should be happy your sister's fine. Ryan's the one who needs help. He slipped into a coma. We've been trying to reach his dad, but he's traveling.
And you're telling me this now? I ran to his room and saw his perfect face, scarred with 1,000 scratches. God, it broke my heart to see my best friend in that state. With Ryan in the hospital, Natasha went around flirting with every guy at school. And while I visited the hospital every day, she only came when Ryan's dad was around. One day, just after his dad left, she got up and said, "What an absolute waste of time. My skin is so stressed with all this drama, and look at my hair. I need to hit the salon so badly. Someone needs to kick that French butt of yours. This guy loves you like a maniac, and all you do is ignore him or use him for his connections. You're such a jerk." Oh, save it, dear sis. I did what I had to become successful, and I regret nothing. I know you like him. Keep him for all I care. He's no use to me lying in that bed, and his dad just doesn't seem to be taking the hint. I'm too good for him anyway, and my perfect body isn't meant to be someone's nanny. With that, she simply turned around and walked off. Unbelievable! Ryan woke up the next day, and the doctors told us that his injury would take months to heal. His father took him to one of the best hospitals in the States, and they left. I had no way to keep in touch with him now, and that made me super anxious. But just then, the biggest opportunity knocked at my door. We were having a writing competition at school, and the winner was going to take home a $1,000 cash prize and a scholarship to a playwriting school in France. This was a dream come true, and I knew I had to be the best. No excuses. I decided to leave everything aside and give it my all, and when the results were announced, I'd won! On the last day of school, as I was clearing my locker, I turned around to see Ryan walking toward me with a big smile. I was so happy to see my friend. I hugged him tight and said, "I'm so glad you're okay." Just then, Natasha screamed from the other corner and came rushing towards Ryan. "Oh, mon amour, I missed you so much. I was so worried."
Drop the act, Natasha. And while you're at it, drop that accent too. I'm not gonna fall for your tricks now. I know you used me. That day at the hospital while you argued with Tanya, I was awake and I heard everything. You can kiss your dreams of working with my dad goodbye.
Whatever. I was just stressed. That doesn't mean I didn't like you. But Ryan didn't hear a word. Instead, he turned toward me and said,
"It's been you all along, Tanya. I should have seen it right away, but it took me a while. Please tell me it's not too late."
I took his hands in mine and said, "Oh, Ryan, I liked you, but you loved Natasha. You only want me now because she treated you like trash. I'm leaving for France tomorrow, but when I'm back, maybe we can go for dinner and talk." Ryan looked at me with love and warmth in his eyes.
I know how you've always wanted to go there. I'm happy for you, and I'll wait for you, Tanya.
I hugged Ryan and planted a sweet kiss on his cheek before leaving to follow my dreams and take on new adventures in life. Everything else can wait. Hi, I'm Prisma from California. Please like and subscribe because MSA will give $2,000 to one lucky winner in the coming 7 days. My sister Juliet and I were born to freakishly rich parents who adored and spoiled us at our lakeside mansion. Even though Juliet and I were twins, people always seemed to compliment me more for my pretty blonde curls and blue eyes. Look at this beautiful child. She's God's gift to humans. Of course, both of our daughters are adorable. Oh, that one's yours too? I never would have guessed. See what I mean? This didn't change even after we grew up. Over time, Juliet started noticing it too and became extremely competitive, especially when it came to dancing. Look at Prisma's moves. She's so adorable. She'll make us proud one day.
What? She's dancing like a frog who's holding in a fart. How can you guys be so blind?
I admit, Juliet was better than me, but I wasn't so bad. And everyone, including my parents, seemed to agree. But every time they praised me, Julia's butt would light on fire. Not that I cared, I loved the attention. Over the next few years, Juliet and I grew further apart, and by the time we were 16, we were pretty much strangers living under the same roof. She got into dancing, and I fell in love with writing. Things were fine, till one day, Dad lost all his money in stocks, and we had to sell our estate and move to a tiny apartment. Worst of all, I had to share a room with Juliet. Seriously, Mom, I need my privacy. You know that. It's just for one night. We'll buy you a mattress in the morning, and Juliet can sleep in the lounge.
No way. I need my own room too. If she gets one, so do I.
Please, don't be so melodramatic. Before Juliet could argue more, Mom left. Juliet tossed and turned angrily, but finally fell asleep. And I did too. But a few hours later, I woke up to her screaming.
Ew! I can't believe you still do that!
I felt horrible as I realized the bed was all wet. I had a condition where stress could sometimes make me lose control over my bladder while sleeping. That was my secret. And now Juliet knew. Shut up, Juliet. It's not a big deal. Who would have thought Miss Perfect needed diapers?
It's a huge deal, and now you'll do what I say if you don't want anyone at our new school to find out.
You're an awful person.
You don't say. I worked so hard to be this awful, so thank you.
For the first time in years, I get to dominate you. I gave up the room and Juliet promised to tell no one, but it was so hard to trust her. On our first day of our new school, Juliet and I could feel all eyes on us as we entered, and I heard a few kids whispering about our branded clothes and bags. That's all we had from our life before.
Look at them. They all look ew. This place is yuck.
Don't say that. It's the best Mom and Dad could do.
You don't have to kiss their butt now. They're not around to hear you and pat your back. Anyway, I'm off. Good luck getting through a year in this dump.
Ugh, such a brat. Thank God we were in different homerooms. But it was kinda true. The school wasn't half as fancy as my private one back in Malibu. Kids were louder and meaner, and even the teachers didn't seem to care. That day as I walked back home, I missed my old life and prayed something could magically put everything back in place. I guess God was in a happy mood, cause the next day, Juliet gave us the best news we'd heard all week. I auditioned for the role of dancer in Superstar Karen's next movie. OMG, this Karen doesn't age. I should get her doctor's number. I know, I'm like super pretty, but I can be prettier. So why not? Anyway, I got a call back for the second round. How amazing is that? That's so cool. You totally deserve it. Stop pretending. I know you're probably just burning inside. Get ready to beg for my autograph. Jeez, relax. Don't be so overconfident, okay? Ugh, no one is as good as me there. This rolls in my pocket. Anyway, I have to practice, so I'll see you guys around. I was genuinely happy for her, but I just wished something could turn up for me too, especially after I saw how Mom fussed over Juliet. It made me even more jealous than I'd like to admit. Juliet's audition was in a week, and Mom decided it would be a good idea to tag along and cheer her on, despite her protests. The set was huge, and I felt like I'd entered a TV or something. Just then, Karen walked in looking like a vision, and everyone fell silent. She looked even better than her movies. This woman was a goddess. Okay, let's get this movie started. Wait a minute, who are you? I was so lost in admiring her that I didn't realize I was standing in the middle of the scene. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was just… No, go back. Could you dance for me? Oh, I'm not really here for that. Just give it a try, please. She signaled for the music to start, and I did what she said. To my surprise, I enjoyed the attention on me, and the camera didn't make me feel nervous. After I was done, Karen took me to her office. Okay, so I'm gonna offer you a deal. $1 million and you sign the movie now. But I've been so out of touch with dance, and my sister's way better. You should give her a chance. I don't know who your sister is, but no one here is as pretty as you. And I could always train you. Think about it. It's either you or some other girl, but not your sister. Karen handed me her card and left. And when I turned around, I saw Juliet fuming at me. And when we reached home, she went bonkers on me. How dare you? This was my chance to shine and you snatched it away. I hate you. Listen, I know how this looks, but I didn't think this would happen. And she told me she wasn't offering the role to you anyway. So it's a good thing I got it. We could use the money. You'll make up anything to justify how selfish you are. If I don't get this role, you can't have it either. And if you take it, I'll make sure you regret it. Don't threaten me like that. If you were good enough, she wouldn't have chosen me, okay? Think about that. I knew how Juliet felt, but it was a 1 in a million opportunity. The money would benefit all of us. And it wasn't like she was getting the role, so why couldn't I have it? The next morning, I went to Karen and signed the deal. When Juliet found out, she lost her mind and screamed for hours. But I knew I'd done the right thing for my family, so I ignored her. A week later, we started shooting, and working with Karen was a dream. She was the sweetest. But for some reason, no one else on set agreed with me. One evening after a late shoot, we talked, and I told her my whole story. Oh, darling, I know how you feel. I come from a poor family too, and I made my way up. Really? That's so inspiring. I felt so special because she confided in me. But the next day, when I met her, she totally blew me off. And soon, she started showing her true colors. She treated me like her servant, and I was stuck getting her coffee and salads. And she kept criticizing me in front of the whole crew during shootings. I decided to talk to her, but soon we started with promotion interviews, and there was never a good time. During one interview, the host asked me a bunch of questions, but Karen kept butting in. So, what do you love most in the world? Well, I love dancing, and me, of course. She's my biggest fan. Yes, but I was saying that my parents are so proud of her. I took this poor girl under my wing, and now I'll make her a big star. Isn't she lucky? Karen didn't let me say anything. And the next day, everybody was talking about her big heart. No one was talking about my talent. Great. Now people think I'm some charity case. Don't overthink it. Of course, you're talented, but everyone likes a good sob story. Just go with the flow. I tried, but it kept getting worse. Everyone wanted to know more about how I became famous, and even started bothering my parents to get their answers. Are you really poor, or is this just a publicity stunt? How does it feel to live off your daughter's money? Well, it's my money to begin with, so I feel betrayed. What the heck are you doing? Telling the truth? Helping the media? I'm being a responsible citizen. I dragged Juliet away before she said something to make the situation worse, and a few weeks later, we moved to another place. Lately, the stress had been so much that I was wetting the bed more frequently. I really hadn't expected things to be so hard. A few days later, I was going through the script when I heard noises coming from Karen's office and peeped in to see the writer of the movie crying. You can't do this. You promised me a better amount for my story. That's why I gave the script to you. Oh, cry me a river for changing my mind. This is my last offer. Or, I can break your career faster than I break hearts. But it's not enough. You know how much this story means to me, and I'm knee-deep in debt. Not my problem. You want the money or not? The girl left crying, and I entered the room to have a word with Karen. Stay out of it. But it's not fair. You can't just take away her hard work and not even pay her well for it. It's just wrong. Really? Have you forgotten what you did to your own sister? She was the better dancer, and you didn't even flinch before taking her place. That was different. It was me or her, and you chose you. You and I are more alike than you think. And the next time you go snooping around in my business, know this. I will fire you. You can't do that. I'm the face of your movie, and people would crush you for firing the poor girl. Darling, everyone is replaceable. Ask your sister. Karen's words hit me like a hot slap, and for the first time, I thought how unfair I'd been to Juliet. I had to make it right, and I started with dropping an anonymous tip to the media about how Karen exploited her staff. The news blew up like a volcano, and Karen faced bad backlash. She knew I'd leaked the news and I was fired on the spot, but I couldn't care less. All I wanted was to make things right. But Juliet was still ignoring me, and I couldn't blame her. One morning, I walked into her room to talk, but she wasn't around. And seconds later, I heard Mom scream. What? What happened? Mom pointed to the TV, and Karen was standing with Juliet and calling her my replacement. What? I was still reeling with shock when Juliet walked in. Juliet, I know I'm probably the last person you trust, but working with Karen will destroy you. She's just using you to teach me a lesson. Fine by me. You do need a few lessons. Like, you're not the only dancer in the world, and I'm far more talented. Heck, if people knew your little secret, you wouldn't have even made it this far. Now stop being annoying, or I might tell it to the press. The industry runs on gossip. Sure, people will talk about me for a few days, and then what? They'll forget about it. But working with Karen will make you miserable. Don't do this. I'll do anything I want. Now get out of my way. I have a plane to catch. Despite my parents' pleas, Juliet left, and we didn't hear from her for weeks. Slowly, I got back to my studies and managed to pass my high school. But we were running out of money, and I needed something to keep afloat. So I decided to apply for small roles in movies. A few days later, one of the old writers on Karen's set called me and said she'd recommended me for a role in the movie based on her script. It did well, and I started getting more offers. Slowly, the money started rolling in, and we moved to a better place. I even saved up enough to put me through a writing school, and things were fine. Except Juliet was still in the back of my mind. And then one day while I was leaving for work, Mom came running in. It's Juliet. She's in jail. What? Mom told me that Juliet was involved in some embezzlement scandal with Karen, and they'd been arrested. We went to the police station with a lawyer to bail Juliet out. My parents seemed to forgive her instantly, but I was still mad at her. Prisma, there's a lot I need to say, but I don't know where to start. How about sorry or thank you? I am really sorry. I was blinded by all the glamour and a chance to be better than you for once. Karen treated me just like you said, and she'll get powerful lawyers and get herself out of this mess, but I'm stuck in it now. You don't have to believe me, but I'm innocent. I tried telling you she's a witch, and I think I do believe you. Do you think you can forgive me? I will never even mention the word diaper in front of you. Shut up. I'm better now. And it might take some time to fix things between us, but let's get this mess sorted first. And I'm happy to have you home.
Hey friends, I'm Nora from Atlanta. I was born just a minute after my twin sister Suki. She was my twin, but we were nothing alike. We didn't even look like we were sisters at all. Suki, with her long golden locks and blue eyes, seemed like a Barbie doll. As for me, I might have looked like a Cabbage Patch doll. There's a saying that families are like fudge, mostly sweet, but with a few nuts. In our family, that nut was Suki. The girl was crazy. All she ever wanted to do was have fun, and she was born with a really short fuse. Like one time, Mom and Dad took us to a restaurant, and Suki thought it would be fun to squeeze the ketchup bottle at people. Thank God I was safe, but not for long.
I'm not with them. Hey, Nora, would you like some ketchup?
Saying that, Suki squeezed the bottle so hard that the ketchup landed on not just me, but on the waiter as well. Instead of being angry, my parents were laughing.
Suki, you sure know how to have fun.
Yes, you are so naughty, but Mama loves you. I wasn't surprised when the waiter tried to stop her. She went ballistic, and eventually we were kicked out of the place and banned from ever coming back. Even when we would have exams, Suki would never take studies seriously, but still somehow managed to pass. But that wasn't for long. When we reached 10th grade, she failed and had to repeat the class. I wasn't happy that she flunked, but I wasn't sad either. I got to enter 11th grade without Suki, and it was awesome. I was finally my own person and no longer the sister of the most gorgeous and hot-tempered girl at school. I I focused really hard on studies and aced every exam and soon was top of my class. I had my life goals set. I needed to be the best and get that one scholarship to my fave university that was offered to our school. While my parents were happy that I was excelling in my studies, they were even prouder that Suki joined the cheerleading squad. Mom went so insane that she threw a full-fledged party for Suki, wearing her cheerleading uniform from ages ago. Oh, my love, you keep making us proud, following your mom's footsteps. Seeing how everyone was just hovering all around Suki, something inside me flipped. Like seriously, celebrating she joined the cheerleading squad? In case you guys haven't noticed, I aced my 9th standard exams. Okay, fine, I might have overreacted, but I did have a point. Mom and Dad just rolled their eyes and went on to enjoy the party, while I felt like I'd get a headache, so I went outside in the garden to catch some air. Feeling frustrated, I kicked the dirt, and that's when I saw a guy. You idiot. You stupid idiot. Huh? What the heck? Hey, watch your mouth. You're standing in my garden calling me an idiot and stupid? How dare— The guy raised his hand, and when he removed his phone from his ear, I felt my cheeks turn red. He wasn't talking to me. Beautiful, gorgeous. That's what I'd call you, not idiot and stupid. It was just my friend on the phone, who decided to let his pet fish swim in the bigger sea by flushing it down the toilet. Let's just say the fish is in heaven now. Who was he? He did look familiar, and then it hit me. It was Dad's friend's son, Ian. Our family used to be super close, but Ian and his family moved to England like 8 years ago. It's you, Ian, the guy who always stole my ice creams. Yep, it is I. The guy who heard you tell your mom on a beach picnic how bad you needed to scratch your butt because of the sand. Oh gosh, why did he have to remember that? Once summer vacation ended, I found Ian in my class. Perfect, as if having Suki in high school wasn't enough. Ian was the most annoying guy ever. First, because he knew so much about my childhood and would keep telling classmates how I used to be a cranky, weird kid. And second, because he was so competitive. He wanted to be number 1 at everything. He played in the school's soccer team and was also excellent in studies. A jock and a nerd. But I was a tough cookie. I was always one step ahead of Ian, and I wasn't gonna let him get my scholarship at all. One day, I was in the library preparing for this really tough advanced math quiz. Just as I was trying to figure out a very difficult equation, someone snatched my notebook. It was Ian. You're welcome. I was standing behind you and I just couldn't bear it anymore. If you had paid attention to the prime number theorem, you wouldn't have to find a workaround for this question. OMG, how dare he? But I did forget to use it. I would have figured it out, but yeah. This way it does seem easy. Well, I guess thanks are in order. I already said you're welcome. Saying that, Ian sat next to me and we both started practicing together. After that day, Ian sort of grew on me and I started to like him. Soon we became really good friends. We always studied together and made our assignments together. We both wanted the same scholarship and hoped the best one would get it. One fine day as we were sitting in the cafeteria, Suki came out of nowhere and tried to be a little too sweet with Ian. Thank God he ignored her, but once we were at home, Suki had a full-blown meltdown about it. Are you just hanging out with him to make me jealous? Like, he is so cool? How can he even talk to you? How dare he ignore me? I don't know. Maybe because he knows I know what the cube of 2 is, while I guess you don't. Plus, haven't you noticed? He isn't into you. Nerd. Fine, he is cute, but not that cute. Saying that, she left in anger. If Ian had chosen me, she had to accept it. But had he chosen me? He was always so charming around me. I would often catch him looking at me and he'd give me just the cutest smile ever. We'd always sit together and study together in the library. He even walked me home every day after school, too. Every time he'd touch my hand, I felt as if my heart flipped. But we were just friends, nothing more. One day, Ian and I had to meet in the library to discuss an assignment, but he didn't show up. When I went looking for him, I saw him with Suki in the empty hallway. He was holding her hand and they were super close. I felt gutted, and I ran home and locked myself in my bedroom. Mom and Dad tried to talk to me, but I didn't let anyone in. Later that night, I felt hungry and went to get dinner. That's when I heard Suki talking to one of her friends. I almost ignored it, but the moment she said Ian's name, I lost it and barged into her room. I know what you're doing, witch. Stay away from Ian, got it? Is that him on the phone? How could you, Suki?
What the heck? Get out of my room, Nora! Stop being a nosy jerk! Saying that, Suki pushed me out of her room, and the entire night, I felt so angry. It was my fault. I had been too scared to tell Ian how I felt. I needed to fix this. So the next day, the moment I saw Ian, I dragged him into the library and confronted him about Suki.
What are you even talking about? Nora, I don't know. She was fine 1 minute and then she fell and I just gave her a hand to help her up. That's all.
Oh, okay. I might have overreacted. No biggie.
Really? And here, I was happy that you might have felt at least a bit jealous, because I feel like that when you talk to another guy.
Oh, you do? And why is that?
Because maybe I'm falling for you.
Me too. Saying that, Ian leaned in and kissed me. It was beautiful. The following week, it seemed as if Ian and I were inseparable. I felt like I was on cloud 9. But Suki, gosh, every time she'd see Ian and me together, her face would turn red as a tomato, as if I cared. One night I was in my room, ready to sleep, when Suki knocked on the door. Hey, I was wondering, can we talk about, whatever it is, make it fast. Nora, I know I'm the perfect sister, and I guess I steal the spotlight from you a lot of times, but still, I am your sister, and I want to tell you that Ian, well, he isn't exactly the guy you think he is. He sort of hit on me, and he's using you, Nora. He is... Oh God, this was a new low for Suki. I knew me being with Ian made her feel jealous, but this was way too much. Without even thinking, I grabbed her arm and shoved her out of the room. Suki, you are not the sun. The world doesn't revolve around you. For once, it's about me. Stay back. I was fuming with anger. The next day, I woke up a little late for school, and when I reached there, I realized something was off. All eyes were on me. A girl told me to go to the gym room, and when I got there, I saw Suki yelling at Ian, and he had a bruise on his eye.
Nora, thank God you're here. Your sister? She is crazy. She asked me to date her instead of you, and when I said no, she punched me. She actually came at me. Everyone saw it. I was inches away, and she attacked me.
I would have also kicked you. Nora, this jerk, you know what? Before Nora could say anything more, I gave her a tight slap. I was so sick of her. What is wrong with you? Why can't you be happy for me? I hate you, Suki. Don't ever talk to me again. Before things could escalate, the teachers took Suki to the principal's office, and she got a much-deserved suspension for the stunt she pulled. And finally, for once, at home, Mom and Dad grounded her. Though Suki tried to talk to me many times, I totally shut her out. When she returned to school, she was dropped from the cheerleading squad and was always so quiet. The whole stress of Suki and Ian had me so distracted that I wasn't even doing well in studies. I knew I didn't do well in the exams, and I was certain that I'd have to kiss that scholarship goodbye. But when the results for the 12th grade came in, I was stunned to see I had failed. This can't be happening. But how? There must have been some mistake. I went straight to the school. I was going to get my assignments and exam answer sheets tested, but when the teacher informed me that I had not submitted a couple of very important assignments, I felt the earth beneath me shatter. And to my shock, Ian was there, with a grin on his face.
Oh my God, the look on your face? It's epic. Totally epic. Wait, let me take a picture and show you. Ugh, how fun it was. Nora, you were so easy to fool. I guess all girls are so easy to fool. Give them a bit of attention and they'll lose focus. And you know what? Your sister was onto me. She saw me throw your sorry excuse of an assignment in the bin instead of submitting it. But I played it so well that you didn't believe her.
I felt my ears burn. I was so going to get this butthead. But before I could lunge at him, someone jumped at Ian. It was Suki. Oh gosh, my sister had Ian in a chokehold. You jerk! My sister deserved that scholarship. You won't go far in life by stepping on others. Karma will bite you in the butt, Ian. I'm gonna tell the world what you did.
Good luck proving that.
I had to stop Suki. She had already gotten one suspension because of Ian. Another meant expulsion. Suki, leave it. He's not worth it. He's just a blood-sucking worm. Come on. Hearing my voice, she did let go of Ian and came running to hug me. I hugged her too and rubbed her back to calm her. I was sad for weeks. No, months. I felt so depressed and just wanted to stay in my room all the time. The pang of betrayal was falling hard on me. Seeing how homebound I was, Mom and Dad took us to a restaurant, the same one we had been banned from.
just as I was going to take a bite from my burger, Suki squeezed the ketchup bottle and a load of ketchup landed on my face.
Suki, you idiot!
Wait, I'll get you. As if you can. Come on, let's see your aim. Saying that, I did the same. And in no time, our family was acting like the crazy they were. We were. In the end, Dad had to pay for minor damages our family's ketchup fight caused. And guess what? We were banned again. But I didn't care. I felt alive after such a long time. And I knew Suki totally did that on purpose. When the schools opened again, I felt ashamed to go back. But Suki was by my side.
Hey, it's no big deal.
I studied 11th grade twice. No worries. Try until you succeed. She was so right about it. At the start, kids would tease me for repeating the same class, but in a few weeks, they forgot about it. Well, I guess my winning streak was broken because it took me 4 attempts in 12th grade to clear it. But when I did, I got into my favorite university. After graduation, Suki and I opened a restaurant together. And guess what? It had a separate section for kids to go wild. One time as we were closing up, we saw a homeless man and gave him some food. Just as he looked up at me, I was shocked to see it was none other than Ian. Ian? What happened? Then Ian told me how he got into college and how a girl broke his heart, making him go into a depression and lose focus and failed miserably. Even his parents disowned him in the end. I knew it was karma, just like Suki had said many years ago. I gave Ian a few dollars and held Suki's hand as we both walked towards home. Remember to always be kind.